All right, thanks very much for being here, for coming out. I know it's short notice. I appreciate you braving the traffic to be here. As I said in my email when I announced the availability, we're here to talk about Bryce. As you know from our previous messaging, he collapsed on Wednesday morning. He was taken to the hospital and he was put on life support. So, and he passed this afternoon. These folks have, and a lot of other Furman folks have been, working tirelessly to be with him and with his family. So, I'll let you ask questions. I don't know if anybody wants to open with a comment or anything, but you can ask questions about Bryce. We can't talk about his medical condition because we simply don't know it. They're just details that are unknown. So, and with that, if you have any follow-ups or anything later, you can get in touch with me. Hunter Reed's also here from athletics, and Drew Ingraham from athletics. We can follow up with you at another time if we need to. But
I can get it started.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for being here. I want to thank the Stanfield family for their care and everything that they have gone through this past week. But I specifically want to thank our university, our leadership, Jason Cassidy, our dean of students, who was here throughout the process from the beginning to the end, and everything our Department of Student Life has done on behalf of the family. But I specifically want to thank Coach Clay Hendricks and his wife Leanne, his staff, for their care for Bryce, and they've been with him throughout this entire time. And it's important to know that the care for Bryce is not just for him, but for his parents, for Terry, for Fred, for their extended family, but also for the members of our team, and the members of our community, the members of our coaching staff, and what that means to go through this process. But I'm grateful for these two men and for what they've done on behalf of Bryce's family and what they've done on behalf of Furman University. And we can take questions as you're ready.
Can you give us just kind of a window into who Bryce was and the type of student and athlete that he was?
Well, that's an easy thing to talk about. I just met with our team. It's been a tough few days, but Bryce really is the kind of epitome of everything we kind of value in our program. At Furman, we're fortunate to have a lot of really bright guys, really good students, but he was at the very top of that group. He's pre-dental, student, outstanding student, really, really good player, heavily involved in service in the community, and just that guy that treated everybody the same. And like I said, that's the easiest thing I could say today. As challenging as it's been for a few days, that's an easy thing to talk about.
How was Bryce as, not only as a defensive player, he was, a really good defensive player, again, 2.5 sacks last year for you guys, but how was Bryce in the locker room and looked upon by his teammates?
I think the word respect probably is what comes more than anything else, just because he just, we laugh. I told his mom and dad, we talk a lot about being low maintenance and dependable, and he's about as low maintenance and dependable a guy as there's ever been, but just highly respected for how he went about his business. And again, how he treated others. Andre Bernardi, I literally was at the hospital a bit ago and heard him, Andre talking to his folks about him in the weight room. Just everything he did, he kind of excelled at. And I think guys naturally respect guys like that. And fortunately, in a place like ours, we have a lot of those guys. But again, I would say he's right up there at the very top of our group.
Do you know if leading up to Wednesday morning he was sick or complaining of an injury or anything like that?
No, the only thing I'll say is, he had been, we'd been doing some morning workouts, which is we do every year, and really we're going to start practice yesterday. And he had a back strain that had limited what he could do, and really was just trying to rehab him to get him ready to go when practice started. But that's something they'd been dealing with, which is pretty common practice with lots of guys. But other than that, nothing.
And Bryce, as a student, everybody was mentioning that he was heavily involved in the service with the men's in distinction, very excellent student, very high in GPA. Can you talk about his dedication to service outside of football?
Yeah, so Men of Distinction is a program that we have ladies of distinction and men of distinction, and in this one, middle school boys in the community get connected with our young men on campus, our students, and Bryce was heavily involved in that. He looked forward to that on a weekly basis, spending time with those boys, and they would play basketball and try to be positive role model for some of the boys in the community. I think he also would go out and read. They had a group that would go into elementary schools, and he enjoyed doing that and reading. And I think he also, talking to some of his roommates, was in the Grill Club, which is a group that just they get together and they love to grill out. And his roommates enjoyed when he would bring some extra grilled steak back to the apartment. So yeah, he was heavily involved outside of football as well.
And according to the letter sent on the faculty, the president of the university conferred to him a Bachelor of Science degree and magna cum laude to him.
Yeah, and I can talk about that. We spoke with the team a little while ago and shared with them that's one of the more special things I've ever been around. And thanks to Coach Hendricks and thanks to Jason and thanks to Prisma Hospital for allowing the entire team to be there. And President Elizabeth Davis was there, and she was able to confer a degree to him. So he is a Furman graduate, and that was something that was very important to him as a student. It was very important to him and his parents. It was very important to our team. But one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen was the entire team there with him, in the bed, in the room, spending time with him, praying, crying, being together as a Furman football team, which really meant the world to him.
In talking with players and family, I mean, this is really sad. This is a tragic loss. He's 21, 22 years old.
21.
How is this hitting them? I'm sure it's a very heavy thing for them right now.
Well, yeah, I've been doing this a long time myself, and it's the first time I've been a part of this. Had friends that have dealt with some. I've heard from a lot of guys. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tragic any time. I know, and football team is such a unique family type situation, anyways, and I think which makes it all the more difficult. Like I said, just nothing's been easy for 3 days, and really proud of our kids, our team. Really proud of our university, and I mean, Jason's office. Dr. Davis, what she came and did today, I had a chance to, participate in that. And, it was wonderful, but it was challenging to be there. But just like I said, the whole Furman family is a unique group, anyways. But from a number of people I've heard from, ex-players, ex-teammates of mine, fans, friends. I just but like I said, it is a tragedy. I mean, just really is. And we all want to answer. We all want to ask about why. And hopefully we'll find some things out. But again, I'm a believer the good Lord has a plan for all of us, and He doesn't make mistakes, as somebody told me, and He doesn't make mistakes. And it's up to us to kind of figure out what great's going to come out of this, and that's just kind of what I expressed to our team. And that's kind of what we're trying to do: look after each other going forward.
I'll share on Wednesday. I think it's notable to mention that our student athletes, our leaders in fellowship, our Christian athletes, our leaders in student affairs, our leaders, SAC, they all came together on Wednesday evening while Bryce was in the hospital to pray for him, and to see all the students on this campus gather, all the teams gather, to go through a period of reflection, to send notes to Bryce, to be led in a prayer group by a student, Ty Youngblood, who's a member of the football program, was remarkable. And they prayed for Bryce, they prayed for his family, they prayed for strength. And for me, that was one of the most touching moments that I've seen at this university, is to see them come together in that way And I think that really speaks to the character of Furman University and the type of students that we have.
Do you all have anything planned, maybe a memoriam on campus or maybe a candlelight vigil or anything coming up for students?
We're going to work with the family to plan a memorial service on campus in the coming week, probably a week or two. We'll work with the family to do what's best around their schedule, but that will be a plan and something we'll have on campus.
Is the family local?
They're all from Georgia. Yep.
Is there any plan to potentially postpone or cancel classes for students during this time of mourning?
No, you know, students sometimes can be conflicted about that because, you know, when you're 18 to 21 years old, this isn't something you experience a lot of yet, and sometimes this is the first time in their life where they experience loss. And so we'll help them navigate that. Something that's just really important in these times, and we know this as adults, is being with those you love and care about in times of grief and sadness and loss. And so what we don't want to do, we want to respect Bryce and honor him, and we will. But at the same time, we don't want to cancel all university operations because that's where our community comes together. And so being together is really important to the healing process. And so we'll be respectful of that. We'll give flexibility, academic flexibility to our students, those who are close to Bryce and need some of that, because all of our students are going to manage this in their own way and in different ways, and it'll manifest itself differently. And so back to your earlier question, we have support systems and things in place at Furman where we will keep an eye on students and stay connected to them and work with them individually to support them in the weeks ahead. This will take a while.
Coach, if I may, the last 48 hours for you, it's probably one of the hardest you've had to go through, being with the family in the hospital. Just how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. You know, I told our team, which is probably the hardest thing to do, is dress them. Y'all are actually a little easier to dress than it was to talk to them, but you know, I read two prayer. I thought pretty early on, just what I'd heard, you know, we need a miracle, and that was probably my number one prayer. And then I think the other one was just having the strength to really get up for our guys, because I needed to be with them. You know, and certainly my interactions with the family. What an unbelievable family. You know, I met all the extended family, and you know, it's amazing the last, you know, as you say, 48 hours, maybe even longer. You know, but like I said, it is what it is, and you know, I rely on my staff. I've gotten some great notes from just guys I work with every day. You know, and certainly people that I hadn't heard from in a long time. They're just people everywhere. But like I said, I'm doing fine. This you know, I told them we met Monday afternoon, I guess, or excuse me, Wednesday afternoon. We had a team meeting, and I went back to the hospital, and you know, I knew at that time, and I told our guys, you know, we got some tough days ahead, and then, you know, even with the tragic news of today, we got some tough days ahead. And you know, we'll get through it. You know, we'll get through it. We'll honor Bryce, and Bryce is, like I said, Bryce is a pretty easy guy to, you know, when his name pops up, I know the first things that come into my mind. I mean, like I said, he was just kind of the epitome again of everything we want to be in our program and at our school. And so that's kind of what I'm going to try to focus on.
Anything else that might be in the works to honor Bryce, or any other words that you want to say about Bryce?
You know, I think for us, this is still new, this is fresh, and knowing how we'll work together and what we'll do as a university, we will find more ways to honor Bryce in the months ahead. And I think we're all going through a grieving process right now, and we're dealing with what the reality is, but we'll certainly honor Bryce, we'll remember Bryce. It'll be an honor for us to do something in his name, in his memory. And you're talking about someone with a megawatt smile. You're talking about someone that just lifted up the room when he was there, a very accomplished student, someone that's going to be dearly missed, not just by our team, but by the fellow students, his faculty, professors, his advisors. This is someone that's really, really special above and beyond, and a very loving son and a loyal friend. But we'll find opportunities to honor him in the future.
I just want to express my gratitude to Prisma Health. We've been with them for the last 3 days, and I've never seen any, the type of care that they provided to Bryce and to his family, everyone from surgeons to nursing staff, administration, chaplains. I mean, they were present, they were invested, they were supportive of, 100 college guys and family. I know not all hospital systems are equipped to do that or willing to do that, and it was amazing to be there with them and watch them in action. So just kudos to all of our healthcare professionals and all that they did for this family and for our university.
What can the greater Greenville community do to help support students, faculty, staff at Furman?
That's a great question. I think similar to what I mentioned, for me, what I mentioned earlier about our community doesn't just stop, and we don't want to isolate ourselves. I also would say we don't want to exclude our external community, our Greenville community. They're part of the Furman family, and many of them, probably more than some of our other students, they have a connection in many ways to Bryce, because if they're football fans and have come and watched him play for the last 3 years, they have some sort of connection to him. So continue to support our students, and we welcome them to be a part of the Furman community always.
Yeah, I was just going to share that one of the unique parts of this process with Bryce's family is that from the moment they got to the hospital, they actually welcomed everyone in. And they wanted the coaches in the room, they wanted Furman in the room, and their willingness to share this has allowed the community to get behind Bryce and to support him. Talking with the family, they know, they feel it, and I think it's a really important thing that in this day and age, I think it's a really wonderful thing, the amount of people who have reached out, that have shared the sympathy, that have shared their condolences, that have shared their empathy. One funny story, they're from Georgia, and besides Furman, they love Georgia football. When they heard that Michigan had reached out with support, they said, well, we don't like Michigan, but we'll take it, and they appreciate that. But the fact that they felt the love and attention from so many people, and they felt the prayers and the sympathy, and I think if there's anything the Greenville community can continue to do, would be to continue to reach out to that family, continue to reach out to this team, continue to reach out to these students and put their arms around them, that they feel the support and they feel the prayers. So we're grateful.
And can you talk about, some of the resources as students that might be watching this, what they can do as they try to process this?
Yeah, great question. Furman is blessed with lots of support resources for our students on a daily basis, and when these types of tragedies happen, fortunately for us, not often, they kick it into high gear even more than they normally do. And so, we have a full chaplaincy staff available to our students and faculty and staff. We have a fully resourced counseling center and after hours access as well, crisis line access for our students. We have kind of a support team within Student Life that will connect individually with students, and already have those who are closest to Bryce, and really helping them kind of walk through this and navigate their own path through this. So we've enacted all of those resources back, it's always through the semester, but especially starting Wednesday, and they've been ready and connected and available and present, and will continue to be so in the weeks ahead. So we've communicated with all of our students, the entire student body, all of those resources, and they know how to access those. And our faculty and staff also know how to let us know and refer students when they're worried about them, and they do, and they will.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.